Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Trading with Ashley show. I wanted to come on tonight to just give you my perspective of the markets and wanted us to take a look at some technical analysis on the SPY overall, and maybe we'll take a look at the QQQ, IWM, and some of our favorite stocks as well, just so that we can get our bearings about us about what may happen this week. Now, I know there are a lot of nerves in this market. When I look at the fear and greed index, we are at 27 and we are flirting with extreme fear. I do want you to know that if you are investing in quality companies, anytime we are close to extreme fear or in extreme fear, that is inherently less risky than when we are in greed and extreme greed. And I know that sounds counterintuitive, but think about it. If you are purchasing a quality company when the stock market is down and everyone's fearful, they're not investing when they're fearful. So those that do, they have the opportunity to ride the wave up in price action. And all of those that sit on the sidelines when the stock market starts turning around and some of the favorite stocks like the Mag 7 start perking back up, that's when investor confidence increases and they start piling in. Well, if you were one of the lucky ones and you were not as fearful because you knew it was less risky to get in the market when everyone else is fearful, then you get to enjoy watching your portfolio ride high. Now, I know it changes the mood when our stocks are not performing like they have been recently. But I will say it again, it is less risky to enter the market when we are in fear and extreme fear. So if you keep that in mind, it kind of changes your perspective a little, and then you're just in a waiting game. So let's say you got some quality stock at really low prices a few years ago, and you enjoyed them going all the way up, and now you're watching your portfolio pull back down. Well, no, that doesn't feel great. But if you felt like that you really needed more exposure to one of those stocks that was performing really well, now would be the time to consider to start to dollar cost average in. Now, you may have received the stock or put the stock in your portfolio when it was lower than we are now. But it's unlikely, if it's a quality stock, that it will pull back to the point that you got this stock a few years ago. So I want you to keep that in mind. And the reason I know this is as I'm reviewing some older videos and training modules I did, I'm chuckling at the prices that I saw on some of these quality stocks and how they have doubled and tripled in some instances just from a few years ago when I was initially making the videos. The main thing for you to consider to protect yourself if you are investing in a market that's fearful is you really want to ensure it is a quality company with a strong balance sheet and a proven business model. The stocks that are more risky inherently, such as the quantum plays, even a lot of our favorite Bitcoin plays, that is a risk-off dynamic. You don't see investors piling into those stocks when they're nervous and jittery. And so if you want to ensure that you're protecting your own portfolio, that's where those stop losses come in. That's where selling aggressive covered calls come in. Or don't be afraid to sell a losing position and take what's remaining and transfer it into a stock that is more predictable because it has that proven business model. It's very important. We trade differently when we're in a risk-off environment, and we do that to protect ourselves and use our cash to put it into place that we have a higher degree of confidence in. Let's talk through what is going to affect the market this week. One of the first things that I would be watching is Wednesday's inflation data. Now, markets have already pushed up expectations for the next Federal Reserve rate cut to be June because there were strong payrolls. It was 256,000 last month, far more than the forecast of 160,000. And the unemployment rate fell to 4.1%. Now, it's possible that after investors see the revised read on the employment data, they won't be near as fearful knowing that a lot of the jobs were actually part-time jobs. It's worth noting that they were more than likely seasonal in nature, and that will calm investors down quite a bit once the revised read comes out. Let's talk about bank earnings. Now, it is anticipated that all the major banks will have actually strong earnings. Well, why is that? This past quarter, they have enjoyed robust investment banking fees. They have seen strong trading income, and there's been easing pressure to boost deposit rates. All of those are expected to make for upbeat earnings for all of the U.S. banks. Even after positive earnings that are expected, the banks have some tailwinds when they're looking at the new administration. Banks are expected to enjoy Trump's new policies that support deregulation. It's a more business-friendly environment. There are a lot of tax reforms. So it is anticipated that the banks will be one of the benefactors of this new administration's policies. Now, at the end of the week, all eyes are going to be on China. China is set to release a slew of data at the end of the week, which will give investors a chance to see how the world's second biggest economy is performing as it faces the blow of impending U.S. tariff hikes. GDP data is due on Friday, and it is expected to confirm that the economy did meet its 5% annual growth target for 2024. If so, that would be bullish for both China stocks and those stocks that are affected in the U.S. by China's economy. And finally, we have to consider the oil sanctions. Oil prices did rally last Friday as investors consider what sanctions on Russian oil and gas from the U.S. might do to the prices of oil. Now, President Joe Biden's administration did impose these fresh sanctions on Russian oil producers, and it is expected that Trump will leave these in place as it's anticipated that he will use these sanctions as a negotiation tool post-inauguration as he is wanting to discuss Ukraine peace treaty. So now that you know the overriding factors that will affect the stock market this week, let's go take a look at the technical analysis on some of our favorite indexes and stocks that you may want to trade this week. Or if you decide to just sit this week out because you're too nervous about everything that could be coming, that's okay too. Sometimes doing nothing is doing something. For starters, let's take a look at ticker symbol SPY for the S&P 500. Now, I am in the new charting system for Robinhood, and I really like it. It's colorful, it's very user-friendly, and I encourage you to check it out if you haven't already. So look right here. It looks like we are sitting right here on top of the 100-day simple moving average. Now, this is a level of support not just for stocks, but for an equity like the SPY. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But the first thing that comes to mind when I look at this chart is right here. Do you see right here? We had this gap up, and we are starting to fill the gap, but it's not yet quite filled. It looks like we have to get down to about 576 for us to fill the gap. But this was all of the excitement when Trump won the presidency. And so the market gapped up, and now it likes to go back and fill this gap. It picks up new traders here, and this allows the market to be more efficient. So that is something that we can consider. We are currently sitting at 578. The gap is almost filled, so it would not surprise me if this pulls back enough to actually fill this gap so that we can get moving again. Now, the QQQ, similar dynamic. It has that same gap that has yet to be filled. It's a little bit further away than we saw for the SPY, but for it to get filled, we need to get down here to a little bit over 490, and it should fill that gap. We're currently sitting at 505. So I don't know if this downward pressure will happen at the first couple of days or if Wednesday's CPI data will end up, pushing it down further, but this is something to watch, and there's something to it. Now let's take a look at IWM. IWM, interesting dynamic. It too had the gap, but the gap has actually been filled now. So we are sitting at 215 right now, and this gap needed to be filled at about 224. So now our next level of support is sitting right on top of our next level of support. This is the 200-day moving average. And the 200-day moving average is actually a stronger level of support than any of the other moving averages that I have on this screen. The higher that the moving average is, the higher number of days, the stronger level of support that tends to be for a stock. The other thing to note is the RSI. Look down here. We were at the bottom of what you'll typically see on the RSI. So we are due for a bounce. We could go below 30 on the RSI. That's not unheard of, but we wouldn't typically stay down there long. So this is something to consider, that it does look like IWM is due for a bounce once the markets decide to turn around. This one may bounce quicker than the others just because it seems to have filled its gap and it's really low on the RSI. Let's take a peek at Tesla. So I am of the belief that Tesla is going to be a $1,500 stock in another year and a half from now. So these prices right here, they actually entice me to want to invest harder into Tesla. Tesla is currently sitting at $394. Now you can see we're in the bottom portion of the Bollinger Band, so it's not unheard of to expect it to come down to the bottom of the band, down here closer to about 360 before we see a bounce. Now we are faring better on the RSI. We're sitting right here at about 48, 49. And if we can get back over 50 on the RSI, that means more buyers have stepped in. So this will be interesting to watch this week as we get closer to the inauguration as well. We could see more of a bump due to that connection between Elon and the incoming president. Let's take a look at Nvda. Now, Nvda is sitting at a critical level of support. You see right here, we're at the 134 area. It's really important that we hold this 132, which is the current 100-day moving average. If we slip below this, we could get back down to 128, even 125. And look, this 200-day moving average is 120. Now, this would be shocking to a lot of people if we got down this far, but you would more than likely have significant buyers that stepped in, both institutions and retail traders, if we got to this 200-day moving average. So this is one to definitely watch. We either will see a bounce this week and start heading back up, or if we lose these critical levels of support, the next one down looks to be right here about 120. Let's take a look at one of my personal favorites, and that's Palantir. Now, Palantir, too, is sitting at the bottom of its Bollinger Band. It is also sitting right there on top of the 50-day moving average. It's a strong level of support. But look, if it loses this, we could definitely be heading down to where I see these clusters of candles right here closer to 60. These candles serve as an imaginary line going across right here. So this is right here around that $58, $60 level. But then look, the next level of support beyond that, it's down here in the 50s. We're looking at like 51, 52. This is sitting on top of the 100-day moving average. I personally don't think we'll lose the 100-day moving average. I feel like buyers would step in because there were a lot of people that were left behind when Palantir started moving, and a lot of institutions and retail investors wanted to buy in when it hits certain critical levels. But if we do lose that, we do have this gap to fill, and that would bring it down as low as about $42. So if I see Palantir pull back this low, then I certainly will be adding to my position. I hope you found that helpful, and now you're more prepared to face the trading week. If you want to be a part of a community that will help you through both up markets and down markets, consider clicking the link below, booking a brief call, and you could be trading with us as early as this week. Remember, if you're with Trading with Ashley, there's no trader left behind. Now, if you are worried about how to trade in a market pullback, I put together a video just for you, and you can watch that right here.